The Forgotten Girl. Amora, a bright and cheerful 9-year-old, lives in a small, close-knit village. The day begins with her father, Oba, lovingly dropping her off at school. Amora's excitement is evident as today is the long-awaited storytelling competition. She is confident and eager to share her tale with her classmates and teachers. The school day is joyful and eventful. Amora's story captivates her audience, and she wins first place in the competition. She is showered with applause, her smile brighter than ever. As the school day ends, she clutches her prize, a small trophy, and heads to the school gate to wait for her father. Unbeknownst to Amora, Oba has been called to an emergency meeting by the village council. The matter is urgent, and Oba, though worried about his delay, trusts the school staff will ensure Amora's safety until he arrives. As the hours pass, the school staff grow restless and assume her father will arrive shortly. One by one, they leave, confident that Amora will be fine. When the last staff member locks up and departs, Amora begins to feel anxious. The once busy schoolyard is now silent. Her mind, however, remains optimistic. Her father is never too late. But as shadows grow long and the chilly evening wind picks up, worry starts to creep in. Finally, determined not to wait any longer, Amora decides to head home on her own. She is confident she knows the way. After all, the route is familiar, and her home isn't far. But as she ventures into the dimly lit streets, uncertainty sets in. The path seems unfamiliar in the fading light, and the once friendly surroundings appear ominous. Unaware of the dangers ahead, Amora takes a wrong turn and finds herself in unfamiliar territory. The cheerful, victorious girl from earlier is now a small, frightened figure in the encroaching darkness. Her steps falter, and the eerie silence of the empty streets weighs heavily on her. As the last rays of sunlight disappear, Amora realizes she is lost. Alone, tired, and scared, she clutches her trophy tightly, hoping to find her way before the night fully envelopes her. A kind stranger. Amora stumbles along the darkened path, her little hands trembling as she clutches her trophy tightly. Fear grows heavier in her chest with each passing moment. Just when she feels she can't go on, a soft, calming voice calls out to her from the shadows. "Child, are you lost?" Amora looks up to see an elderly woman with kind eyes and a warm smile. The woman introduces herself as Mama Ade and gently offers Amora a piece of bread and a small bottle of water. Grateful and relieved, Amora eagerly accepts, her tired body rejuvenated by the nourishment. As they sit together under a flickering street lamp, Mama Ade listens intently to Amora's story. "I see," Mama Ade says thoughtfully, "you're a long way from home, little one. Don't worry, I'll help you find your way." Hand in hand, the pair begins their journey toward a nearby market, where Mama Ade hopes someone might recognize Amora or know the way to her village. The market, though quieter at this hour, still bustles with late-night vendors and shoppers. Mama Ade patiently asks around, describing Amora's village to anyone who will listen. As they speak to a group of merchants, a tall, shadowy figure approaches. The man introduces himself as Cole, his deep voice carrying a strange mixture of calm and authority. He claims to know the route to Amora's village and offers to escort them. Amora feels a pang of unease. Something about Cole's demeanor unsettles her, but Mama Ade, trusting his confidence, assures Amora they should accept his help. "He seems to know the area," she whispers gently, "and we need to get you home before it gets any later." Reluctantly, Amora nods, clutching Mama Ade's hand tightly as they follow Cole. At first, the journey feels hopeful. Cole leads them through winding paths with a certainty that suggests he knows exactly where he's going. But as the lights of the market fade behind them, the surroundings grow more desolate. Mama Ade begins to ask Cole questions about the route, but his answers are vague, his tone growing colder. Amora's unease deepens. She notices how Cole occasionally glances back at them, his expression unreadable. Though they are supposed to be heading toward her village, the terrain feels increasingly unfamiliar to Amora. Doubts creep into her mind. Is Cole truly leading them home, or is he taking them somewhere far more dangerous? The village in chaos. Oba steps into the warm glow of his small home, expecting to see Amora's bright smile and hear her excited voice recounting her day at school. Instead, he is met with an eerie silence. His heart sinks. "Amora," he calls out, his voice tinged with worry. He checks every room, his concern mounting with each empty space. Realizing she isn't home, panic grips him. He rushes to the neighboring houses, asking if anyone has seen her. When no one has, Oba's worst fears begin to take shape. The village quickly springs into action. Oba's desperate calls for help rally the community, and soon a search party is formed. Lanterns are lit, and groups of villagers set out in all directions, scouring the forest, the nearby riverbank, and the winding paths leading out of the village. Oba, though guilt-ridden and frantic, leads one of the groups. As they search, he silently curses himself for not leaving the council meeting earlier. "She trusted me to be there for her," he mutters under his breath, his voice breaking. The other villagers reassure him, but their own fears are palpable. Meanwhile, far from the village, Amora walks closely beside Mama Ode, her unease about Cole growing with each step. His pace has quickened, and he now mutters to himself, his behavior increasingly erratic. Amora glances up at Mama Ade, who meets her gaze with a calm but urgent expression. Mama Ade subtly squeezes Amora's hand, a silent signal for her to stay close. "Keep your wits about you, child," Mama Ade whispers softly when Cole's back is turned. Her tone is warm but serious, and Amora feels a flicker of hope in Mama Ade's presence. Cole suddenly stops and turns to them, his eyes narrowing. "We're almost there," he says, though his words feel more like a command than reassurance. Amora's heart races. She isn't sure where there is, but it doesn't feel like home. Back in the village, the search party presses on, their voices echoing through the night as they call Amora's name. Oba fights back tears, guilt weighing on him like a heavy stone. He envisions his daughter lost and frightened, and he blames himself for every moment of her fear. "She's strong, Oba," one villager says, placing a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "We'll find her." Oba nods, clinging to the hope that they're right. But as the hours pass and the darkness deepens, that hope begins to waver. Escaping danger. Cole leads Amora and Mama Ade deeper into a dense forest, the trees towering like silent sentinels under the pale moonlight. The trail grows narrower, and the air feels heavier. "It's just a shortcut," Cole says, his voice sharp and impatient as Mama Ade questions the unfamiliar route. Mama Ade's instincts scream that something is wrong. Cole's demeanor has shifted, his glances are calculating, his movements tense. Finally, she decides she can't stay silent any longer. Stopping abruptly, she plants herself firmly in the path. "Cole," Mama Ade says, her voice steady but firm, "where are you really taking us?" Cole's eyes narrow, his friendly facade slipping away. "Don't question me, old woman," he snaps, his tone laced with menace. Mama Ade doesn't flinch, but she reaches out to grip Amora's hand tightly. Sensing danger, Amora's small body trembles, but she remains quiet, her instincts telling her to trust Mama Ade. Cole steps closer, his presence looming. The tension snaps as Mama Ade suddenly pushes Amora behind her. "Run," she shouts. Amora hesitates for a split second before obeying. She takes off into the forest, her small legs pumping as fast as they can. Behind her, she hears the sounds of a scuffle, Mama Ade holding Cole back with surprising strength and determination. Moments later, Mama Ade catches up to her, breathing heavily but unharmed. The two hurry through the forest, weaving through the dense trees. After what feels like an eternity, they stumble upon an abandoned hut, its wooden frame leaning precariously but offering some semblance of safety. "We'll rest here for the night," Mama Ade whispers, her voice soothing. She sits Amora down and pulls a tattered blanket from a corner of the hut to wrap around the shivering child. To lift their spirits, Amora begins to tell Mama Ade the same story she had shared earlier at school. Her voice is soft but steady, weaving a tale of courage and hope. Mama Ade listens intently, her warm smile a beacon of comfort in the dark. Back in the village, Oba and the search party reach the edge of the forest. They call out Amora's name, their voices echoing into the void, but the forest gives them no answers. The villagers light torches, preparing to enter the dense woods. Oba's heart aches as he stares into the darkness, wondering if his daughter is somewhere out there, scared and alone. "We'll find her," he mutters to himself, his resolve hardening despite his growing fear. Inside the hut, Amora drifts to sleep in Mama Ade's protective embrace. The night is far from over, but for now, they have found a moment of safety in the heart of the wilderness. The spirit of the forest. The night in the abandoned hut is cold and restless. Amora wakes to the sound of eerie noises drifting through the forest, soft whispers, rustling leaves, and the occasional crack of a branch. She clings to Mama Ade, her small hands trembling. "Stay calm, child," Mama Ade whispers, her voice steady despite her own unease. The forest has many voices, but not all of them mean harm. Just as the words leave her lips, the noises grow louder, and a faint glow begins to filter through the cracks of the hut. Amora and Mama Ade exchange a wary glance before stepping outside cautiously. Before them stands an enigmatic figure cloaked in shimmering light. His features are sharp yet serene, his eyes glowing faintly like embers. Though his presence is otherworldly, it carries a strange sense of calm. "I am Is," the figure says, his voice deep and resonant, as if it carries the weight of the forest itself. "I am the spirit of the forest, the guardian of these woods. You have strayed into my domain." Amora looks at him in awe, while Mama Ade narrows her eyes, her skepticism clear. "If you're the guardian of this forest, why should we trust you?" Mama Ade asks, her tone firm. Is regards her with a faint smile. "I protect those who respect the forest ways," he replies. "But there are dangers here that even I cannot hold back for long. If you wish to live safely, you must trust me to guide you." Amora tugs at Mama Ade's hand. "He seems kind," she whispers. "Maybe he can help us find home." Mama Ade studies Is carefully. Though her instincts urge caution, she sees the sincerity in Amora's hopeful eyes and decides to take a leap of faith. "Very well," she says, addressing Is. "We will follow your guidance, but if you mean us harm." Is raises a hand, his expression calm. "I mean no harm," he assures her. "But the path ahead will test your courage." As they begin their journey deeper into the forest, Is moves gracefully, his glowing presence illuminating the path. He speaks of the forest's hidden dangers, predatory creatures, treacherous terrain, and even a mysterious darkness that threatens the balance of his domain. Amora listens intently, her fear slowly giving way to fascination. She feels a strange connection to Is, as if he sees something in her that even she doesn't yet understand. Mama Ade, ever watchful, stays close to Amora, her eyes darting to every shadow. Though she doesn't fully trust Is, she can't deny the comfort his presence brings to the frightened child. The journey is far from over, and the forest holds secrets that have yet to reveal themselves. But for the first time since they left the village, Amora feels a glimmer of hope. With Mama Ade by her side and Is leading the way, she dares to believe they might find their way home. The village's desperation. The search for Amora stretches into the early hours of the morning, and the once hopeful voices of the villagers grow hoarse and strained. Lanterns flicker in the cold wind, and the weight of exhaustion hangs heavily over everyone. Yet, the thought of giving up is unthinkable. Oba, pacing near the edge of the forest, refuses to rest. His guilt feels like a physical burden pressing down on him. I should have been there, he whispers to himself, over and over. This is my fault. One of the elders, Boba Olu, approaches Oba, leaning on his wooden staff. The village elder's face is lined with age and wisdom, his eyes calm despite the chaos around him. Oba, he says softly, the forest is vast, and its secrets are deep. We must call upon the spirits for guidance. Oba hesitates but nods. In their village, it is well known that the forest is alive with forces beyond human understanding. If there is even a chance this ritual could help find Amora, he will take it. Under Boba Olu's direction, the villagers gather near the sacred clearing at the forest edge. The elder lights a circle of small fires and scatters sacred herbs, the aromatic smoke wafting into the air. Chanting in a deep, rhythmic voice, he calls upon the spirits of the forest. Guardian of the woods, hear our plea, Boba Olu intones, his voice echoing in the still night. A child is lost within your domain. Guide her back to us and bring her home safely. Deep in the forest, Is pauses mid-step. His glowing presence flickers as he senses the call. Turning to Amora and Moma Ade, he says, your people seek you with all their hearts. I must answer. Amora looks up at him with wide eyes. Does that mean they'll find us? She asks hopefully. He nods. They have reached out with love and desperation. That love is a powerful force, it will lead them here. Meanwhile, back in the village, Boba Olu's ritual seems to energize the villagers. The fires burn brighter, and their determination is renewed. They fan out beyond the forest boundaries, expanding their search with fresh resolve. Oba refuses to leave the forest edge, his lantern gripped tightly in his trembling hands. Amora, he calls into the darkness, his voice raw with emotion. I won't stop until I find you. Though the night stretches on, hope begins to ripple through the search party. The villagers' love for Amora and their unwavering belief in the elders' connection with the spirits drive them forward. In the heart of the forest, Is quickens his pace, guiding Amora and Moma Ade toward safety. Hold on, he says, his voice filled with quiet reassurance. Help is closer than you think. The test of courage. As the first light of dawn filters through the dense forest, he stops at the edge of a steep gorge. The path ahead is narrow, slippery, and treacherous, with jagged rocks below. He turns to Amora and Moma Ade, his expression serious. This is the final obstacle, he says. The path across is dangerous, but beyond it lies your way home. You must summon all your courage to succeed. Moma Ade hesitates, her age and weariness evident. Amora, however, steps forward, determination etched on her young face. We can do this, she says, her voice steady. We've come this far. Is leads the way, but the path is slick from the morning dew, and the drop below is daunting. Amora carefully helps Moma Ade navigate each step, her small hands steadying the older woman. Halfway across the gorge, a chilling voice interrupts their progress. Well, Ko sneers, stepping out from the shadows of the trees on the other side. His eyes are wild with anger. Did you think you could escape me so easily? Moma Ade instinctively moves to shield Amora, but Ko lunges forward, blocking their path. You're not going anywhere, he growls, advancing toward them. Amora's heart pounds, but her mind races. She remembers Isa's earlier warnings about the forest's hidden dangers. A plan begins to form. Ko, Amora says, her voice trembling but firm, you'll never catch us if you're so slow. She takes a step toward him, holding up her prized trophy as bait. Is this what you want? Come and get it. Ko's greed flares, and he lunges for her. But Amora sidesteps at the last moment, leading him onto a patch of unstable ground. With a mighty crack, the earth beneath him collapses slightly, and before he can react, a swarm of forest animals emerges from the shadows, an ambush set by Iz. The animals encircle Cole, their eyes glowing faintly under Iz's influence. Panicked, Cole struggles but finds himself trapped. "You brought this upon yourself," Iz says calmly, his voice resonating through the clearing. "You will harm no one else." Cole's shouts fade as the animals lead him away, ensuring the group's safety. Iz turns to Amora with a proud smile. "You were brave and clever, Amora. The forest recognizes your courage." Amora helps Mama Ade the rest of the way across the gorge, her confidence growing with each step. As they reach the other side, the trees begin to thin, and the familiar sounds of the village come into earshot. From a hilltop, they finally see the faint outlines of the village below. Amora's heart swells with relief, and tears of joy stream down Mama Ade's face. He stops at the edge of the forest, his glowing form fading slightly. "This is where I leave you," he says. "Your people await you. Be strong, little one, and remember the lessons of the forest." Amora nods, her heart full of gratitude. "Thank you, Iz," she says softly. Hand in hand, Amora and Mama Ade descend the hill, their steps quickening as they hear the villagers calling her name. Oba's voice rises above the others, filled with desperation and hope. "Amora." As she runs into her father's arms, the forest feels like a distant memory. But Amora knows she'll never forget the courage it took to find her way home. The reunion. As the sun rises higher, casting its golden glow over the village, the search party pauses at the edge of the forest. Suddenly, a shout breaks the stillness. "There! Look!" The villagers turn to see two figures emerging from the forest, their silhouettes unmistakable. Amora and Mama Ade are walking hand in hand, their weary faces breaking into smiles as they near the village. Oba, overcome with emotion, drops his lantern and runs toward them, calling out his daughter's name. "Amora." His voice trembles with relief and joy. Amora lets go of Mama Ade's hand and rushes to her father, tears streaming down her face. Oba scoops her into his arms, holding her tightly as if he'll never let go again. "I'm so sorry, my child," he whispers, his voice breaking. "I should have been there." "It's okay, Papa," Amora replies, her small arms wrapped around his neck. "I'm home now." The villagers gather around, cheering and clapping, their earlier fears replaced with jubilation. They surround Mama Ade, showering her with gratitude for her bravery and for keeping Amora safe. "You are a true hero," Baba Olu says, bowing his head respectfully. "Your wisdom and courage have brought this child back to us." The villagers organize a grand feast to celebrate Amora's return. The square comes alive with laughter, music, and the aroma of delicious food. Mama Ade is seated at the place of honor, and Amora sits beside her, regaling the crowd with stories of their journey. Meanwhile, Baba Olu steps away to a quiet corner of the forest. Lighting a small ceremonial fire, he raises his hands in thanks. "Iz, guardian of the forest, we honor you for your guidance and protection," he says. Though unseen, Baba Olu feels Iza's presence, a gentle breeze carrying the forest spirit's silent acknowledgement. As the celebration continues, the villagers bring Cole into the square, his hands bound. His defiance has faded, replaced by the weight of his capture. The village guards take him into custody, ensuring he will face justice for his actions. Oba stands before the crowd, holding Amora close. His voice carries gratitude as he addresses everyone. "Today, I learned the strength of our village and the courage of our people. I will never forget how you stood by me and helped bring my daughter home." As night falls, the village glows with warmth and unity. Amora sits on her father's lap, clutching her trophy, a reminder of her resilience. Though the journey was harrowing, it has strengthened the bonds between her, her father, and the village. From the edge of the forest, Iz watches silently, his form blending into the trees. With a faint smile, he turns and disappears into the heart of the woods, his task complete. For Amora, the forest will always hold the memory of her courage and the kindness of strangers who became friends. She has returned home, stronger and wiser, surrounded by the love of her family and her community. 4. Amora's story. The day after the celebration, the village gathers in the square, eager to hear Amora's tale. Seated on a small platform, her trophy gleaming beside her, Amora takes a deep breath and begins her story. She speaks of her fear when she found herself alone, her encounter with the kind Mama Ade, and the mysterious call. She tells them about Is, the spirit of the forest, who guided her to safety and the courage it took to cross the dangerous gorge. It was scary, Amora says, her young voice steady but filled with emotion, but I learned that trusting the right people and staying brave can help you face anything. The villagers listen with rapt attention, their pride in Amora evident. When she finishes, they burst into applause, their cheers echoing through the village. Mama Ade, sitting nearby, stands to speak. Amora's bravery reminds me of the stories I once told in my younger days, she begins. Long ago, I was a healer and a storyteller in my own village. But as time passed, I grew old and wandered from place to place. Meeting Amora reminded me that courage and kindness are what truly connect us, no matter how far we've traveled. Her words inspire the villagers, who ask her to stay and share more stories in the days to come. Baba Olu, the village elder, steps forward and raises his staff. This tale, he declares, is no ordinary story. It is one of courage, trust, and the bond that unites our community. Let this be a story we pass down for generations, to remind our children that even in the darkest moments, there is light to guide us. Amora, glowing with pride, begins teaching the other children practical safety lessons, showing them how to stay calm and think smart in difficult situations. Always believe in yourself, she tells them. Even when you're scared, you're stronger than you think. Oba, deeply moved by the ordeal, resolves to prioritize his family above all else. He spends more time with Amora, walking her to and from school, and ensuring she knows how much she is loved. You're my word, Amora, he tells her one evening. Nothing will ever come before you again. The villagers, inspired by Isa's role in Amora's safe return, decide to honor him. They build a small shrine at the edge of the forest, decorating it with flowers, carvings, and tokens of gratitude. Baba Olu leads a ceremony to dedicate the shrine, thanking Is for his guidance and protection. Amora visits the shrine often, leaving small gifts and whispering words of thanks. You showed me how brave I can be, she says softly one day. I won't forget you. As the seasons pass, Amora's story becomes a cherished legend in the village. The little girl who once felt lost now stands tall, her courage and resilience inspiring everyone around her. The village remains united, their hearts forever tied to the lessons learned during Amora's incredible journey. 4. Lessons of the Forest. A few weeks after her safe return, Amora and Mama Ade decide to visit the forest one last time to thank Is in person. With flowers in hand and gratitude in their hearts, they step carefully into the dense greenery, the familiar rustle of leaves now a comforting sound rather than a source of fear. As they approach the gorge, Is appears, his glowing form emerging from the shadows like a beacon of light. His serene expression softens into a smile as he greets them. You have returned, he says, his voice calm and resonant. Amora steps forward, holding out the flowers. We wanted to thank you, she says earnestly. You saved us, and you taught me to be brave. Mama Ade nods, her respect evident. Your guidance was a blessing, Is. You showed us that even in the darkest times, the light of wisdom and courage can lead the way. Is bows slightly, his presence radiating warmth. The forest and its lessons are always here, he says. But remember, the harmony between humanity and nature is fragile. To protect your future, you must also protect the world that sustains you. Amora's eyes light up with understanding. I'll take care of the forest, she promises. I'll teach others to do the same. We'll plant trees and keep the village clean. He smiles, his glow intensifying for a moment. A small act of care can grow into a great legacy. Be the voice that reminds others of this truth. When Amora and Mama Ade return to the village, they share Isa's wisdom with the community. Inspired, the villagers decide to honor the lessons of the forest by starting a tree planting initiative. Every family contributes, planting saplings around the village and along the forest edge. Children take pride in caring for the young trees, watering them and watching them grow. Baba Olu leads ceremonies to bless the initiative, and Mama Ade teaches the children stories about the importance of balance between humanity and nature. Amora becomes a champion of the effort, encouraging others with her infectious enthusiasm. The forest saved me, she tells the villagers. Now it's our turn to save the forest. As the trees grow taller and the village flourishes, Amora often returns to the shrine and the forest, leaving offerings of flowers and quietly thanking Is. Though she never sees him again, she feels his presence in every whisper of the wind and every rustling leaf. The lessons of the forest become part of the village's identity, passed down through stories and actions. Amora's courage, Mama Ade's wisdom, and Isa's guidance inspire a legacy of care, reminding everyone that harmony with nature is not just a lesson, it's a way of life. Forgiveness and redemption. Weeks after the celebration of Amora's safe return, the villagers gather in the square once more, this time for a more somber occasion. Cole is brought before the village council to account for his actions. Bound and subdued, he stands before Baba Olu and the other elders, his head bowed. Cole, Baba Olu begins, his voice steady but firm. You betrayed the trust of this village and endangered one of our children. What do you have to say for yourself? Cole hesitates, then looks up, his face etched with regret. I have no excuses, he says quietly. Greed blinded me, and I let darkness take hold of my heart. I'm sorry for what I've done. If there's any way to make amends, I'll do it. The villagers murmur among themselves, uncertain if his remorse is genuine. Mama Ade steps forward, her wise gaze fixed on Cole. Every heart has the capacity to change, she says. But true redemption comes through action. Let him prove his sincerity by serving the village. The council deliberates and agrees to Mama Ade's suggestion. Cole is assigned tasks to rebuild trust in the community, repairing damaged paths, assisting the elders, and helping with the tree planting initiative. Though some villagers remain skeptical, Cole begins his work with quiet determination, earning respect little by little. One day, as Cole plants saplings along the forest edge, Amora approaches him, guided by Mama Ade. She watches him silently for a moment before speaking. You hurt me and Mama Ade, she says, her voice calm but firm. But I see you're trying to change. Cole stops and looks at her, shame flickering in his eyes. I'm so sorry, Amora. I'll never hurt anyone again. Amora hesitates, then nods. I forgive you, she says simply. But don't waste this chance to be better. Mama Ade places a comforting hand on Amora's shoulder, proud of her maturity. Forgiveness, she knows, is a powerful force that can heal even the deepest wounds. As the days turn into months, the village grows stronger, united by the lessons they've learned. Cole becomes an integral part of the community, his actions proving his remorse. He works tirelessly, and though trust takes time to rebuild, he never falters in his efforts. One evening, as the villagers gather around the fire to share stories, an unfamiliar traveler joins them. Dressed in simple clothes, his face weathered but kind, he listens intently to their tales of courage, unity, and redemption. Unbeknownst to them, the traveler is Is in disguise, observing the progress of the village he once guided. As he listens to Amora retell the story of her journey, he smiles faintly, his heart swelling with pride. When the fire burns low and the villagers begin to disperse, he slips away into the shadows, content to leave them to their newfound harmony. The forest, the village, and the people are bound together now, their connection stronger than ever. The lessons of courage, forgiveness, and redemption have transformed not just individuals but the entire community, creating a legacy that will endure for generations to come. A tale remembered. Years pass, and the once little girl who faced the forest darkness grows into a wise and confident young woman. Amora, now a storyteller like Mama Ade before her, captivates audiences with her words. Seated under the shade of a great tree planted during the village's initiative, she shares the incredible tale of her journey through the forest. Children listen wide-eyed, their imaginations ignited by her descriptions of Is, the spirit of the forest, and her escape from Ko. Adults nod in admiration, remembering the strength and unity her story brought to the village. This story, Amora often concludes, isn't just about me. It's about courage, forgiveness, and the power of a community that stands together. Her words inspire generations to be brave, to care for the environment, and to believe in the power of change. The village thrives, its prosperity rooted in the lessons learned during Amora's ordeal. The trees planted during the initiative now form a lush grove at the forest edge, a symbol of harmony between humanity and nature. Amora's name becomes synonymous with resilience, her story a reminder of what the village can achieve when united. Mama Ade, who lived to see the village transformed, passes away peacefully in her sleep, her wisdom and kindness leaving an indelible mark on everyone she touched. The villagers honor her with a grand ceremony, recounting her bravery and her role in saving Amora. Cole, once a man shunned for his actions, becomes a respected figure in the community. Through years of service and unwavering commitment, he proves that redemption is possible. He often shares his own lessons with younger villagers, encouraging them to walk a path of integrity. The story of Amora and the forest becomes a cherished folktale, passed down through generations. Elders tell it by firelight, children reenact it in playful skits, and travelers visiting the village marvel at the tale's message of courage and unity. One evening, as Amora sits under the great tree, watching children play, she smiles to herself. She knows her journey, once filled with fear and uncertainty, has become a beacon of hope and inspiration for countless lives. As the wind rustles through the trees, carrying the whispers of the forest, Amora feels a familiar presence. Though unseen, she knows Is is there, watching over the village as he always has. Her journey, now a tale remembered by all, is no longer just her story. It is a story of a village that faced its fears, grew stronger together, and found harmony with the world around it. And in that harmony, Amora finds her greatest joy.